The rook is the most powerful piece behind the queen, but it is extremely useless in the opening stage. It is useless because it cannot move until all of the other pieces in its way have moved. What a useless piece. So because of this, it is possible for your rooks to be blocked by your own pawns. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? In this video, I present to you 8 little known facts about the rook. If you want to know how useless the rook can be, stay tuned and be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to my channel if at all you haven't already. Let's go! Fact number 1. Rooks are useless in the corner. For example, white begins with d4, then you go c5, then white takes your free pawn, you go pawn to e6, then your beginner opponents try to hold on to this pawn on c5. What do? Well, you can simply go a5 and you will see them playing pawn to c3 because that's the top played move you can see, after which you go a takes b4 and again they take on b4, and this is where you can get the useless undefended rook in the corner like this. Here you are having white pieces and you start with knight c3, then black plays d5, then you play my silent move, pawn to a4, which invites pawn to d4, the top played move, so that you can now go knight e4, and after pawn to e5, the top played move once again, you simply go e3, giving black one more chance to attack your knight like this, then you ignore the attack and just capture on d4. I can guarantee you that most of your opponents will take your free knight on e4, and this is when you can give them a check on h5 with your queen, and you can see pawn to g6 is what everybody plays. Now it is time to give them a check on e5 with your queen, and at the same time winning the poor rook in the corner. So this is another example that demonstrates how useless the rook in the corner can be. Another one, you can try the following high level trap in the reti opening. This is where you start with knight to f3, then you will see most of your opponents playing the top played move pawn to d5, after which you go pawn to c4. And what do we see here? D takes c4 is the top played move. That's what everybody plays. Anyways, you go pawn to e3. This is the reti accepted, you guys. The second most played move is pawn to b5, but you can still go pawn to a4. They can't play a6 because of a takes b5. So that's why c6 is the top played move in this position, but you just go on and simplify the game. Once again, you attack the b5 pawn with knight c3, and your opponents would defend this pawn with bishop d7. Now that's when you can go knight e5, attacking their bishop once more. You just want to take the bishop and win the pawn on b5. So everybody plays knight to f6. You can see that's the top played move, which is a blunder because of queen f3, which almost traps black's poor rook in the corner. Black has to resign or give up a piece in this position and allow you to emerge with a better pawn structure and a winning position. Fact number 2. Rooks are useless in closed positions. This also implies that rooks are particularly useful in open positions and when coordinated with other pieces effectively. So you're having white pieces and hey, congrats! You have 2 beautiful rooks at the back, but the position is very much closed. You don't have any pawn break available for your rooks to shine. So even though black only has a knight, this position can be a dead draw as you cannot make any progress. For example, it is up to black to choose if they want to lose or not. They're just going to be playing the same thing and you're going to continue shuffling your pieces around. I mean, you can't just make any progress in this position. Therefore, rooks are useless in closed positions. Fact number 3. Rooks are good at destroying your opponent's fianchetto setups. I'm talking about this kind of setup where your opponent's bishop is on g7 or g2 surrounded by its own pawns. This can well be demonstrated in the perk defense. For example, e4 d6, then you go d4 and black attacks your e4 pawn, knight c3, then pawn to g6, just a typical perk defense opening. Bishop c4, then bishop g7. You know black wants to castle short, so this can be the perfect time to play pawn to h4, wanting to go h5. For example, if they castle short, which is the top played move, then h5 and black takes your free pawn. You simply want to sacrifice your rook so that after gh, you win back your pawn and leave black with a bad pawn structure. This kind of rook sack only makes sense because your opponent has already castled short and you haven't, and now you have many attacking opportunities as highlighted. For example, black may continue with e6. The secret is just to keep on attacking, play attacking moves. You develop all your pieces with tempo. You want to castle long early. If pawn to f6, you just provoked a weakness. Now you can retreat your bishop after queen e8, you don't have to exchange queens if you are the one attacking. So the better place for your queen in this specific line is the h2 square, and after queen g6 you go knight ge2, knight c6 by black, knight f4. You just want to be the one attacking. Anyways, the whole idea is that someday you want to castle long and shift all your pieces to the king side in order to justify the reason why you sacrificed your rook in the early stages of the game. So this is completely winning for white. You can also try to apply the same technique in the d4 opening after knight to f6, where you immediately play bishop f4 and then black plays the top plate move g6. So now that you have seen this fianchetto structure coming, that's when you start thinking of advancing your pawn like this, but not immediately. You can wait for black to finish. You may see them playing pawn to d5, stopping your pawn to e4 idea because they don't like playing the perk defense. Well, you can still go pawn to e3. If bishop g7, you have an option to go knight b5 in order to misplace your opponent's knight, but once again you can rush with pawn to h4 because of this fianchetto setup by your opponent. You know that they are more likely to castle short so that you can go pawn to h5. They won't see this rook sacrifice coming unless they know how you play. Anyways, and before I continue, shout out to the following individuals that got my previous puzzle correct. Shout out to Elmer Gottfried, King G5 traps the rook, yep. Z Zulu Z, Coach Hanf also got it right, shout out to you buddy. King G5 is the correct move because no matter what black does on the next move, you're going to win his rook with your light squared bishop. Fact number 4. Rooks smile on open files and ranks. In this example, material is equal but white dominates the position since his rooks control the open files, as you can see with your own eyeballs. Now here is another tip for you guys. Rooks are great on the 7th rank and 2nd rank. Rook d7, then king h8 or whatever, rook takes g7. Black may play pawn to h5. They don't want to lose a second pawn, but that's very easy. Black cannot just stop white from winning his pawns. Rook a d8 for example. Another tip, rooks are very deadly when it comes to back rank checkmates. So you always need to think of windowsmedia.com creating a window for your king to escape from Sobibo. Then let's say rook d2, you go pawn to f3. You don't want to lose any pawn if you can defend. White will win this game very easily. So another example that I can give to demonstrate how the rooks smile on open files is this opening where you start with knight to f3, the ready opening, and let's say after c4, again black plays the top plate move d takes c4. Now wait a second. This is similar to the Sicilian defense, now with white pieces. In the ready accepted, you start thinking of placing your rook on this highlighted semi-open file along the c file. Last example. Now again, this video is not about openings, I just want to make a point, so let me take you straight to the Najo variation position, which is this one you're seeing on the board. The simple plan is to go pawn to e6, pawn to b5 later on, and then put your queen's knight on b6. For example, after bishop e3, you go e6, and whenever you see pawn to f3, which is the top plate move, just know that your opponents want to start expanding on the king side, so this is where you can start expanding on the queen side. So white plays queen d2. Question: how do you develop your queen's rook, which is this rook right here, to c8 so that it can start controlling the semi-open c file? Well, you're not restricted to what you can do, but following our opening principles, knights must go first before bishops like this. Remember, you want to plant your knight on b6 behind your advanced pawn, which is good. If they castle along the top plate move, this is when you go bishop b7, paving way for your rook to start controlling this semi-open file. Let's say white plays g4. You know they want to play g5, so use your mind. You can't just stick to your original plans. If you play rook c8, they'll play g5 and chase your knight away. So this is the perfect time to play knight b6 so that if g5 or any tactical move such as this one you're seeing on the board right now, that's when you can play knight fd7, supporting your knight on b6 and avoiding pawn to g5, and let's say king b1 by white. And now this is when you can play rook c8, satisfying the principle that rooks smile on open files. Let's move on. Fact number 5. Rooks are used for positional sacrifices. You can see I'm still using the same Sicilian example that I used in the previous chapter. So you just activated your rook on the most active square, controlling the semi-open file, and now it is white to move. They play bishop d3. This happened in the Kasparov game against Seiji, where Kasparov had black pieces. In this position, Kasparov used his rook to sacrifice on c3 in order to create an attacking position. This is what we call a positional sacrifice. You sacrifice a bigger piece, or in this case your rook, in order to emerge with a better promising position that will also cramp your opponent's position and enable you to have many attacking opportunities. For example, this opened the way for knight a4. If knight e2 still holding on to the c pawn, black can play queen c7. If bishop d2, now that you can take on c3, you can play other moves like bishop e7, but even better, pawn to d5, paving way for another piece. Once you make a positional sacrifice, you want to continue attacking. Here is another common position where you can apply a positional sacrifice. For example, you played rook f d8 and white just played rook f d1. So you're both fighting to control this open file, and this is when you can play rook d4. This is a very good move in that you're tactically sacrificing your rook in order to emerge with a better position. For example, if bishop takes d4, you are going to have a passer and close the position on the next move. It is going to be very difficult for white to stop your passed d-pawn in the near future. You're going to use that as a decoy. Even if they don't capture your rook right away, for example, let's say they go rook d2, just continue doing your thing as if you are blind or something. Leave your rook right there and keep on doing your thing, because you're just waiting for them to take so that you can take back and have a great position. Anyways, fact number 6. Rook batteries are more powerful than your actual remote control batteries. Let me explain. A battery in chess is a formation that consists of 2 or more pieces on the same rank, file, or diagonal. It is a tactic involved in planning a series of captures to remove the protection of the opponent's king. For example, you start with e4. Remember, the opening moves are not important. I'm just trying to make a point. So there's no need for you to memorize anything here. This is just a game that was played between Alexander Alekhine with white pieces versus Aaron Nimzowitsch. Black played queen d7, then a4. At this stage of the game, white didn't even know that he was going to have a great game involving a great battery of rooks. He just kept on playing and dominating the game. And right on this position after pawn to h6 is where Alekhine remembered the principle that rooks smile on open files and not where they are, and that's why he played rook fc1. After rook fc8, he remembered that one rook is not enough. He needs to make a battery along the c file like this. So this is what we call a rook battery, by the way. After rook ab8, queen e3 was played for whatever reasons, but after rook c7, Alekhine saw that his opponent wanted to make a battery as well to meet this battery. So rook c3 was played, queen d7, then rook 1 c2, and at the end of the day, it was Alekhine who had this triple battery because he understood the power of batteries in chess. Ladies and gentlemen, at this stage of the game, black's position was paralyzed. His knight was pinned to the queen. White has total control of the open c file, rook b c8, then bishop a4. White wants to play pawn to b5 and win the rook like this. So b5 was played, Alekhine took, king e8, again bishop a4. The idea is to go pawn to b5 and win the rook. After king d8, Alekhine played pawn to h4 and his opponent resigned. So you can see how this triple battery paralyzed black's position completely without going for checkmate. So when you follow these simple principles, you won't even need to start looking for checkmates. Your opponent will just run out of moves and resign on his own. Anyways, fact number 7. 2 rooks are not always stronger than 1 queen. In this case, the doubled pawns on the g file and the black pawn on h5 provide a great shield for the white king, hence preventing black from giving perpetual checks with his queen. Therefore, in this position, the pawn endgame should be winning for white after the following sequence of moves. Rook e7. Whatever black does, white can play rook c7. And on the next move, hide his king on h2. There is no way black can ever reach white's king on h2. If they go queen d5, this pawn endgame will be winning for white. It's just a matter of technique and patience to find the best moves. There is no memorization. White's king is in front of the pawn, so at the end of the day, black's king is going to be in opposition anyways. For example, g5, you go king h5, king f5, then you can go g4 check, king f4 holding on to the pawn, then f3, and black will be forced to take, after which this is clearly winning for white. Now, of course, it depends with the current position. In the previous position, we saw that black's pawn was on h5. Now, this time, black played pawn to a6. So this position can be tricky and difficult for white to convert. Why? Because black has a chance to give perpetual checks with his queen, since there is no pawn on h5. That is to say, with a more exposed king and way structure, the black queen stands a better chance to give perpetual checks and easily draw. For example, in this position, if it is black to play, they can go queen d4, let's say rook c7. This time, after rook c7, black has a chance to give perpetual checks and draw this game so easily, all because there is no pawn on h5. So again, it depends on the pawn structure. But usually 2 rooks are better than a queen, but in this case, since both players don't have pawns, this can be a perfect example to demonstrate that 2 rooks can be equal to 1 queen if and only if your rooks are well connected at all times, and 2, your king is closer to your rooks, or it doesn't even matter. This is a dead draw. In fact, it is black who is supposed to be very careful not to leave their queen in the line of their king, cause white can easily pin that queen. Fact number 8, rooks belong behind passed pawns. This is a common one. See, your pawns are going this direction and black's pawns are going this direction. It is white to play and continue being in charge of the game. The move is rook a1. You need to make sure that your rook is behind your passed pawn or your well advanced pawn to escort it until promotion. Here the best black can do is to go rook c6, after which they block your pawn like this. From here you just start playing with your king and pawns. Of course you need to use your mind. At best you just want to simplify the game by exchanging rooks like this. Rook b6 check, rook takes ab, king takes, then king e5. You're going to win all of black's pawns and promote into a kangaroo if you want. You will find the PGN of this study in the comment section down below. And hey you guys, you can head to my website www.kasperchess.com and join my partnership program to help me promote my courses and earn some commission, as you also help me in my campaign to make chess better and help others to improve. If at all you enjoyed watching this video, you know what to do, and hope to see you soon in my next video. Until next time, bye bye.